Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a quick video. I had a question asked, so I'm going to try to make this an informational video. The question was, how do I keep my peonies watered in the summer? And it was a great question, and I'm just going to start off. Number one, I have these oak trees, and they're on the west side of my peony boxes. So they get afternoon shade starting about 3:30. They're already going into shade now. So they start to the afternoon shade in the early afternoon, and by 6 o'clock, the sun is just extensively hot, extremely hot in the afternoons. So by 5:30, 6 o'clock, these are in the shade. And that is one thing that helps. Another thing that helps is I have kind of like, I call it a cover crop. What I've done is I've put other perennials in here, and they tend to lay out a ground in here and cover the bottom of any opening. Like I have Gara in here, and Gara stays really low to the ground, and it's real light and airy. And then of course you have the Gara that the stems come up real pretty, and they're like the little butterflies. But I put the Gara perennial in there. But what it does is it really covers up a lot of the soil that there might not have been a peony plant. And it does help shade the peony plant and keep the soil from getting so extremely dried out. Because in above ground boxes, we all know that the soil is the first thing that's going to dry out in these above ground boxes. Now, peonies do tend to like it on the drier side. It's kind of like a potato. If a potato gets wet and soggy or in a bog, it kind of rots and gets soft and yucky. And these tubers are sort of the same thing as a potato. So they don't want to stay sitting in water. They do like it on the dry side, but you've got to give them moisture. So here in southern Oklahoma, I'm in grow zone 7B. The temperatures last summer we were up into the 113 degree heat index. It was terrible. And I was able to keep these watered up until about the 1st of July. And I'm telling you, it got really bad. I was worried about these plants dying from the drought. But again, I believe the reason that they continue to survive through the summers is I put down good cover crops. I just tend to use Gara, phlox, any drought tolerant plant that you can find. So here is Gara, and I know it just looks like a mess right here. But if you'll look down in here, and if you'll pick the Gara up, my soil is down there, and it's nice and moist. And I do still have a couple of these catmint plants in here. I've tried to pull out all of them because they're extremely evasive, and I believe they were pulling my peony plants down. So I've removed about 75% of the catmint. But the Gara seems to be light enough to allow air to get down into the soil, but it also shades the soil. I have salvia, phlox, like I said, and see in here it's a little more bare down in here. So what I was thinking about doing this year is putting down a cover crop like clover, and it's very good for your soil to rebuild humus in your soil, to add more organic matter, also to keep your soil where it's airy and airflow, and also it'll help hold moisture retention. So again, this video was really that's how I keep my peonies watered, basically. And I hand water, so these are all hand watered, and I like to water in the morning. So we usually have a breeze here in southern Oklahoma, and it will dry that water off. What I like to do is I try to get down low first, but these beds will just stay really thick and lush and green. So it's extremely hard for me not to get the foliage wet. But if there's a breeze, it will dry immediately. And of course, rain is always the best, but we didn't get a lot of rain. But any of the open spots, I will definitely be putting some clover in there. And I also have planted nasturtiums this year. And the nasturtiums are really pretty because they have those really big leaves that look like lily pads. And they stay low, kind of low and bushy, and they produce that really pretty edible flower. And that's always great. And I'm starting to see some honeybees. Oh, they're flying all over. Oh, well, those are those galley nippers. But I did just see a bee a minute ago. I actually have seen a couple honeybees. And some wasps. Wasps are good for pollinating also. But great question. I appreciate the question. And that is how I keep these boxes watered and keep the soil from completely drying out. So thanks everyone. I hope that helps. Bye now.